Hi everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. Well, happy Canada Day, and unfortunately it's so hot outside, so I'm indoors, air conditioner going, and I thought what I would do is show you something kind of neat. It's nothing spectacular, but your creativity might take you somewhere. It's a little art journal, little book made out of paper bags. Now I did this little sample one, and I bound it together using the Japanese bookbinding method. And basically with this is that with a paper bag you can create this little book, and this is a great idea for kids, and I figured it's the summer now, we need to keep the kids busy, but you know, parents and adults can find a use for making their own little books too. So you open it up and you got little flaps. There's different kinds that you can make, and you know, you got all these little pages. Now the one thing with the Japanese bookbinding method is that your pages actually don't open flat. Okay, you can actually force them like this, but they don't open flat. This is one of the reasons why I'm not fond of this binding method, where I prefer, let's say like a Coptic stitch or a running stitch, where it's bound on the spine and you can actually open your books flat. But I'm going to show you some different ways that you can bind your books together, or bind the bag together where you can actually open them up where they're semi-flat without having to learn all these bookbinding techniques. So you don't need any major supplies for this, just some regular paper bags. Now these are different quality paper bags. To start, just get the very inexpensive ones, just until you get the hang of it. A glue, I'm just using DecoArt Decoupage medium, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and some type of punch. You can use a hole punch. I have this massive punch. This is an actual awl with a needle, and there's actually cording that goes inside, and this is used to actually fix up tarps and sails and that. I use this for bookbinding. I found this at Lee Valley, but I'm not quite sure, you know, where else is available. And the actual cording that goes inside here, that's what I use for bookbinding because it's already waxed. Something to actually bind the books together, pages together, you can go to an office supply store and get these binder rings. You can get these. These are very inexpensive. They come in different sizes. You can use that to bind it. Ribbon, cord, and embroidery floss. Okay, and I just tied a whole bunch of strings together for this. If you use embroidery floss, you might want to get some beeswax and just wax it. And to wax it, you just run the thread over, whether you want to do one string, a few strings, just wax it by running your thread through it, and this just helps the strand stay in place when you tie everything together. Okay, so, oh, and you'll also need a foam brush. So I'm going to shake the medium. And it looks like white glue, but you can use it for collaging, as a sealer, glue, as a finish. I like using this as a finish on journal pages that tend to be sticky, and I just put a coat of that. Now, to get started, we're basically going to take our paper bags. Now, if you remember any of my bookbinding tutorials, that we talk about folios and signatures, and although it doesn't really matter to this because this is just a fun project, you can classify this as a folio, okay, and then when you nest them together, it's a signature, because you can use the same ideas and techniques if you want to do multiple books together. Okay, for this particular tutorial, I'm going to make a very, very simple little book, and then later on, you know, in a future video, I may just create a paper bag journal with multiple signatures together, bound on the side. Okay, but you can do the same thing. So I'm going to take 4 bags. Okay, and I'm going to move this out of the way. That was my heat seal mat. I keep calling it a heat seal mat. Self-healing mat. Okay, what I'm going to do with this is that with this particular book here, I wanted it long, and I wanted these little tabs because you can actually glue the ends and you can make a little pocket. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this style. So with this, I'm going to need my foam brush and a paper towel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the medium, okay, and I'm going to flip this tab up. Okay, so you get your bag, whoopsie, you have your bag. I'm just going to lift the tab up and I'm going to put some glue just right here, or some medium. Okay, fold that down just like so. Okay, put that aside. I'm going to do that for all of the bags. I keep calling them pages. And I got a little bit of glue there. Medium, that doesn't matter. Okay, because you can paint these or you can put paper on top of them, like decorative paper. And there's so many different ways that you can make these little books. Basically what you want to do is you want to fold them, bind them, and start creating some art. That's it, step one. Okay. Now with all of these together, now what I'm going to do, you have your bag. Okay, this is the flap that you just folded down. You're going to take that, you're going to fold that again. This is so we can have those little flaps inside. Okay, and I'm just going to push that down now. I'm just going to reach over. If you have a bone folder, that's fine. I'm just going to use the end of a paintbrush, and I'm just going to make a nice strong crease there. Okay, put that aside, and I'm going to do that for each bag. Okay, so there's the flap. We're going to fold it over. This is called burnishing. You're really making a strong crease. This is a great activity for kids. There's no limit as to what you can put inside of these, but I'm going to give you a few ideas at the end to make like the book a whole project. Okay, I'm going to put that brush aside. Alright, so you have all the bags folded like so. Okay, now take two bags. So see how they are like this? There's the flaps that you glued. They're folded over. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to take the flaps together and you're going to glue those. Okay? The easy way to do this, to remember, is you just take your bags that have the fold. Okay? You're going to glue these two together. Okay? You're going to glue the flat side of the bag together. The bottom flap. Okay, and you're just going to put it right on top. That's pretty simple. Okay, so with them glued together, now you can fold them. Here's one. Okay, so there's our panels that we folded and glued. Flip them over. This is the flat side of the bag. And we'll just put some medium on there. Turn that over. Really push that down. And flip everything over. Voila. There we go. Now you can make as many of these as you want. So I'm just going to do these with just two bags. To start, or so with four bags. So 4 bags will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 surfaces to create art, and then you can count the little flaps if you want, depending if you want to create art on them, or you can also just glue them here on the edges to create little pockets. That's up to you. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now I'm going to get my mat here. And you can measure if you want. I have a little template that I can use. Okay, which is the width of the bag, and basically I can put 3 holes, 2 holes, it doesn't matter. But to make 3 holes, take a piece of paper that's the width of the bag, fold it in half, okay, open it up, then fold this half over again, right to the middle, take this half, fold it to the middle, okay, and then on all the folded sides, you fold that in half. So what you've got all these little folds, and where they meet is where you've got your little holes. This is where you've got 3 equal marks to make your punches. You can also do it freehand, it doesn't matter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out roughly about half an inch from the edge, and I'm just going to get a pen, or no, sorry, graphite pencil, and I've already punched a hole in these, just the paper. It's going to push in, and that gives me 3 little marks. And what I like with these is that I'll punch this, and then I'll put this on top and then mark the holes in this one. Just because this is so thick, you got to be really careful. Now you can use a paper punch if you want, but I'm just going to use this. Now for this part here, you might want to get, if there's kids doing this project, you might want to get an adult to do this part. Oh, that one was not cooperative. Okay. I'll get this one, and yeah, the bag was kind of all wrinkled. Now it doesn't matter, it's going to be covered up, and I'm just going to line this up like so. And did that go through? Nope. Actually, this will be a lot easier. Just going to push inside, and that'll mark the one underneath. There we go, that was easy. You can punch the bags ahead of time as well if you want. It's up to you. Oh, this one's not being cooperative either. There we go. All right. So now we need to string this together. So again, like what you can do is, if you want, you can use these binder clips to clip them. Okay, and then you can tie ribbon or stuff like that on them. You can use cording, you can use, stuff like this. And I'm just going to use the embroidery floss. Now, because the hole is a little bit thinner than what I need it to be, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hook it through the hole. Now I don't have a crochet hook that you can use. I just have a plain old needle with a large eye on it, and I'm just going to thread this if I can find the hole. Like I said, you can use whatever you want. I wanted to use embroidery floss on this one because it's got colors on it, and I'm basically just going to feed it through like this, okay, each one. And you can basically, if you can get 2 threads into your needle at once, that's great. And it's going to feed that through. Yep, that one I was able to get 2 in. Okay. Okay, so you're going to put in as many strands as you want. Okay. And I'm just going to widen that out. Now from here you can just tie it. You can tie it like this. Okay, you can just tie it. You can make it where you can tie it with enough tension that when you open it, it opens up. Okay? When you close it though, it might be a little bit loose, but as you start making your art in here, it'll be a little bit easier to manage. Alrighty, so I threaded 4 strands of, was it 4 strands? 1, 2, 3, 5 strands of embroidery floss onto this big needle. Okay, and it doesn't really matter which way you do it. Okay, so there's one. I'm just gonna tie this off. You can, and I like to leave a little bit of string hanging. Don't tie it too tight though, because then you can adjust it. Now you can cut it and you can cut it and basically make another one, which is what I'm going to do. Okay. Didn't tie it too tight though. And then we'll do it again. And we'll just make a knot. And then another knot, not too tight. Again, with this here, there's basically, you can do it any way you want. And this one. Of course, it's going to be the last one to give me a hard time, right? Okay. Then you may also want to, you could also prepare your pages ahead of time and then bind them at the end. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these into a bow. Alright. Making them into a bow, you can also add to your book as you create your art. Is it Murphy's Law that the last stitch that you do is always going to give you trouble? There we go. Alright. And then what you have now is you have your book. It doesn't open up completely flat. Okay? It's semi-flat. There we go. And as you start creating your art on the books, they'll become a little bit stronger. Now, you can also keep your bows in the front, your bows on the back. Doesn't matter how you do it, but now you have a little book with flaps. And you can take these flaps and you can glue them here to make a pocket. You can glue them on the side to make a pocket. You can staple it. You can stitch it with a sewing machine if you want. It's really up to you. Okay, so the difference between binding it this way, leaving the ends loose, as opposed to the Japanese style, I think it's stab binding, where you're literally bending the paper. Okay, but because you've got the tabs, it's much more difficult. I would actually glue these down and then make it like this. Okay, so where the fold is down, glue it onto the page because it's very hard to flip the tab over. It's a much thicker book as well. So here's one. Now I'm going to show you another one. Okay, for this one here, we're going to need all basically the same supplies except the thread this time. I'm using my regular bookbinding waxed cording. Again, this is what came with this thing here, and you can get extra. It's just basically, it's just wax cording. And if you just get any type of strong thread and you can just run it over beeswax or even a candle, that will make it easier to manage. This particular book, we're actually going to stitch it with what I call a pamphlet style stitch, and it will definitely open flat. This is a stitch that I use a lot for regular journals. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to glue the flaps down. And some of you may not want to glue the flaps down. That's fine. And with the envelopes, you could actually do this with envelopes as well. That'll make for another video. You basically want to have just enough paper bags so they fold nicely. Okay, but we're going to be trimming the edges anyways. But if you put too many in there, the book won't store flat. It'll be all poofy. I'll show you what I mean. So now with all these now you're going to lay them all on top of each other. Okay? What we want to do is we want to fold them and fold it flat now. Okay, but what you want to do is you want to have all these lined up. So when we fold it like this, you can fold it where the actual tab is showing. So I'm going to fold this way. Then I'm going to fold this way. This is sort of like an accordion style book, or like a flat book. I don't know what it's called, but I just want kind of like all the pages kind of lined up like this. And we've got this one. And then we've got this one. Again, it's your imagination. Just let it go wild. And what you're going to end up with, the very last one, is going to fold on the flap. On the bottom here, that's where it's going to fold. Okay, so then you're going to end up with a book that's like this. Okay. You can also make it a flip book this way. Alright, now I'm going to get my mat. We need to punch 3 holes for this one. Okay, so I'm going to get my template. And, oh, you know what? Before I go any further, let me just burnish these. Sorry, I forgot about that. This just makes it easier for the book to stay flat. Now, if you don't want to make these out of paper bags, you don't have to do that either. Okay. You're going to open it up to the very center one. Alright. Make sure that fold is all lined up. You're going to put your template right in the middle where the holes are going to be right in the middle. Okay. And you're going to punch through that. This one you can just do with a regular punch. You can even do it with a nail. Did it go through? Yes, it did. Now, with your thread, you're going to measure the number of pages that you have, okay, plus a bit extra. So take your thread and measure. I've got 4 bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus some extra. Okay? You're going to tie a very loose knot. Okay, doesn't matter how you tie it because you can cut this off. You're going to go through the middle hole. And I'm using a curved needle. This is what I used for all my bookbinding. Okay, in through the middle, out through the middle. You're going to go to the hole next to it. Doesn't matter whether you use this hole or this hole. Okay. Whoops. Let's try that again. You also may find it easier to all my book shifted. You may find it easier to clamp your books together too with the binder clips. I went off a little bit. Okay. There we go. There's a stitch there. Now you're going to go all the way across. And you're going to go through here. What's nice about these bags is that they're so flexible. You can easily find the holes. Okay. Alright. Then you're going to go back through the center hole. I'll try to make sure you don't go through the thread. Alright, so where that thread was in the middle, so you've got one strand going across. You want to have one thread on both sides, okay? So this was the thread that I originally knotted. This is the thread that I came out with. Went in through the middle, came out, went to the side, went in through here, came out all the way down, in through here, out through here, and back in the middle. And we have the beginning tail, the ending string on either side. You're going to tie a knot. Because this is waxed, I only need to do 2 knots. Okay, but you can do 3 if you want. You can also leave the tail hanging if you want. I'm just going to cut it short. Not too short, but I kind of like want something hanging there. Okay, and there you go. And now you have your book that will open flat on all the pages. You can also fold it again, and you can put like a little ribbon or Velcro tie on it to make it like a folded book. Okay. The other thing you can do is if you fold everything together, if you fold them in half, where everything is matched aligned, you can do that. While we're at it, let's make one more. I had to find my scissors. I had put something on top of them. Now I can take these and you can cut the flap off, or it's the bottom of the bag. Okay. You can also use fancy scissors if you want. Kids can do this as well. Just be careful with the handling of the scissors. Don't throw these away. Alright, now with this, what you can do is, again, we can make that folded book the way we did with this one. I've got the edges clamped to hold that down. I usually put my books through a press. Let me just get my press. It's a flower press. I usually put my books in there to flatten them out. And I usually do that overnight. So we can do the same thing here, and we can fold them. These are nice little books. Kids like the little books. We're going to fold them all in half. My granddaughter Ava loves the tiny little books. She's only 2, but she likes taking her crayons and marking off all the little ones. Okay, you got that. We're going to nest them. Now you can nest them all this with the opening all on one side, or you can alternate it. I like to alternate it. Just makes it kind of pretty. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to open it up. We're going to punch our holes. Okay. Three holes again. Same as before. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I wonder if I have enough thread. 4 bags. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, it's going to be tight. Let's see what we can do. Alright. So I'm going to make a little knot. Oops. I like making like a knot, but don't put it all the way through. That way I have a loop. And I can get rid of the knot. In the middle. Okay, out the side. These books too, you can make with, you know, those paper bags with the rolled paper handles. Those are nice too. Okay. Through there, all the way down to the end. Wonder if I can do this. Nope. Because there's this flap in here, sometimes I end up making a new hole. So I just kind of lift the pages up, or lift the bag ends up. Go. And now back through the center hole. Okay, I'm going to pull the string, pull a little bit to make the string tight, and make my knot. I'm going to make 2 knots, and cut. Oh, that one I made a little bit tight. I made this one just a little bit too tight. See how it's kind of wrinkled a little bit? Don't make it so tight that it does that. And there we have a little baby one. Now, what you can do with these, you can use these to make your covers. If you want to take a cover and put it on there, you can also, because these have little baggies, you can use these, open them up, put paper on them, and use them as another little something else you can do with them. Makes nice little boxes. Okay, you can glue them inside. Okay, and you can make little pockets. So if you glue them on the bottom, okay, you can put little pieces of paper inside, and then you can fold it. Okay, you can do whatever you want with these little pieces. With the 4 bags, it doesn't quite close all the way, so what you'll probably need to do is make a little tie. And making the ties are actually quite pretty. And to say, oh, let me just go get my other book. Even my other journals, I mean, I have a string going around. This is my color mixing journal, and I have a string or a cord wrapped around that. So you can do the same. You can do it with pretty ribbon. Okay. You can do it with pretty ribbon. You can do it any way you want. Okay. And then basically you can, glue papers on it, decorate it any way you want. These now have little pockets inside, so you can put little snaps on them. Alright, now because these bags are relatively thin, if you're going to paint them, put a coat of medium on them, just a light coating, and it'll just stiffen up the pages a bit if you want to keep the look of the brown craft paper. Okay, just put a layer of medium like this, and that'll stiffen up the pages for you. Just don't use anything that's too watery, because the paper is very thin. It will seep through. These are best when you've got papers that are glued on top. So there's if you see my paper marbling or suminagashi videos, take those. We can tape the paper, put paper on top. Take decorative rice paper, glue it on top. That'll make some pretty things. If you've done journal pages where you've been practicing that you're not quite fond of them, cut those pages up, put them on here, and then you can just even collage over this. Alright, so with these ones here, I mean, if you want to even go further with these, take these, okay, and you can bind these up to make another little flat book. Or take these and you can fold these, okay, and glue it on. Glue it right there. This though now will need something definitely to hold the book closed. Alright, but it's got like a little mini story inside, which is crooked. Alright, so gave you some ideas for creating these paper bag books, and again, it's a great activity for kids. And then what you can do with each one, you can let the kids or even yourself, not saying it's just for kids, come up with their own stories. Now specifically for this one, which I really like with this one, and you can do it with this one as well, but I find that with this it's a little bit harder to see the tabs. This one you can actually even cut the ends, so you can see the tabs as well, or you can even write on here, especially on this one, is on these pieces here, is to write something down, so when you flip it, you can see the art created for that particular task. So you can write on the top tab, could be the cover of the book. Okay, so you can put, let's see, 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at that, 7 pages. What I did this week. And on the first tab, you can write the day of the week. So you can put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or the day, or you can put the activities, what I ate for breakfast, what I ate for lunch, those types of things. So if you pre-write the activities, if it's for children, they'll be more geared to kind of know what to do. But if you've got some kids or even yourself that are really creative and inspired, you can basically create what you want. You can make lists, your favorite foods or whatever you want. But this is a great this is my actual favorite style of paper bag book. And I figured this one out by accident. And I kind of like this one the best because it stays relatively flat, and I like that I can see what I have on here. So I hope that you enjoyed this little video tutorial. And we have all our little books here. And give it a shot. And if feel free to visit artplace.ca for other tutorials and demos that I have on bookbinding, art journaling, and traditional painting. In closing, stay inspired.